Hello and welcome to today's content, which will be about the Frontline War Divisions Final Fantasy Brave Exvius number 12 update. And since there is a lot to talk about, this video will be a little bit longer than usual. But without further ado, since there is so much to talk about, let's go. Starting off, the first thing to talk about is that we are going to get selection quests. The first one coming out is going to be for Carmelo, and this is going to be good because it helps. It's a new character, UR character straight out that you can get. You do not have to spend anything as long as you can clear the selection quest starting here, and it's permanent. Very, very, very nice. Keep in mind, we'll also be in the future be getting more units in general. As you can see at the top right, it says a new UR unit will be available with the introduction of each element addition moving forward as well. Stay tuned. And we already know a little bit in the future that we will be getting like Earth, Wind. So yeah, it's a good start. Keep in mind, selection quests are not really like, oh, I'll just slap in my best units and we're done. Selection units specifically have to be an element and a rarity. You cannot use, until they change it at least, you cannot use any UR rarity units. You can only use MR rarity and lower, and they all have to be the correct element type. So specifically for Camilo's selection quest, you have to be a light unit element and it has to be MR or lower, so keep that in mind. Moving on, we're gonna have the ability board improvements. So what this is specifically for units and espers. Usually when you get the unit or esper, you do not actually unlock all of their board and you can't see all of it either, specifically for if they have an EX or if esper has a 3-star like upgrade awakening. However, starting with the update from the frontline, once the update happens, which is gonna be very soon, the entirety of the ability board will now be available and you can just see it now, like if you want to invest in that unit or not, instead of having to like look for information to see if it's worth your materials. So this is heavily very like beneficial to people who like future planning in the game itself, instead of having to always search for information and stuff. It's very nice to have. Outside of that, in about time, we get the vision card improvements. What this is that we now have hard quests for vision cards. This is very nice to have. As you can see, there is a daily limit of 6 total. And I believe it says for UR rarity, yep, it says right there, the daily attempt for UR rarity is 1 time, MR cards is 2, and you can do a total of 6. But, oh yeah, MR and lower rarity is 2 times, sorry. Up to a total of 6 times. This is very nice to have. This means it is another daily to add on. However, to the people who want to build more vision cards, you can even get Bahamut vision cards, by the way. The shards. So it's, if you haven't had that, hey, there it is. I do believe you have to have the vision card first to even like do it. It's kind of like units in general, like the hard quests, so keep that in mind. However, this does open up a lot of vision card like building up, and if you guys have like done tournaments and stuff for fun, like MR tournaments and all that, vision card like lower rarity and all that, this is definitely a very engaging and fun way to like start building up other little small projects that you had without too much investment. So it's a very nice thing to have. So there's been a little change for guild language settings, which is very nice. You can not only set your guild to like the quote-unquote preferred language that you want. As you can see here, you can set it to English, Spanish, Dutch, Espanol. There's more as you scroll down. When people are looking for a guild, you can just search a language and then join, like filter it by language now, which is nice for people who are not already in a guild and looking for one, and they might be like bilingual, they might be like out of area, like just a different language barrier completely, but they're able to like narrow it down to join a guild more suited for their language. I do recommend, however, if you're going to join a guild and you kind of want to play the game a lot more, I guess, more competitively, or more if you want to join a community, Discord in general for finding guilds is pretty useful in that regard. Moving on, we're going to be having some AI updates, which is very nice to have. The option always use maximum firepower to defeat an enemy has been added to the auto battle settings, which this is very nice, especially if like maybe if you wanted to auto attack an enemy and you believe it should have like taken down the opponent, but like maybe their reaction like procs like Paladin Guard, so your auto attack doesn't actually kill them. The AI, you can change it so now it will use its hardest hitting attack possible to kill them. However, keep in mind, this only applies to auto battle during quests and raids, but does not apply to arena match and guild battles. So this is more going to be for a PvE side of a game, especially for like Trials of Reckoning as well. If you want to like maximize your score, they will use the hardest hitting ability possible now if you turn it on. Keep in mind, however, we also have another AI update on the right side. Changes will be made to the level of priority given to remove re-raise and remove courage during auto battle. This is huge because sometimes like your units due to AI will refuse to use these abilities when you really want them to. Now they have an option for it for AI. Like if the enemy has re-raise or courage is also immortal spirit or guts is what we also call it. When the it's gonna prioritize those abilities so that it uses those abilities to defeat enemies more often than not now because of the AI change. This is huge, especially with people using like re-raise, they're using like guts, and you have someone to remove it but they don't remove it. We'll have less of a problem now with that. As we continue on with the slides, we do have a skip ticket update, which is huge, and I say this huge as it's no joke. Unit affinity and equipment proficiency will now increase when skip tickets are used. Thank Gumi. Holy moly, this is crazy. So unit affinity is when you have a lot of units on a team and you want to build up that team unit affinity with each other. So you could get 5 out of 5, you get maximum benefits. This is mostly for people doing more competitive setups, or if you want to just min-max the amount of stats you can gain from like teammates like helping each other out and huddling together. This is huge. Another thing is equipment proficiency. Now you don't have to sit through every single little quest to like build up that equipment proficiency. Since skip tickets can now be used for it. This is huge in like speeding up units like availability and usage. Next thing we have to talk about is going to be the implementation of the new status effect, Frostbite. This, I believe, only exists on one single unit, and that is King Curry, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because I don't like him. He is a bad guy. What he did to Glaciella. Anyways, Frostbite is what it does is that it steadily diminishes the AP as well as like preventing it from accumulating. And they said specifically in the update that they will explain a little bit more in like separate notifications on how this works. However, we've seen it, well, not everyone, but if you have seen it on the JP side of things, we know that it stops all AP generation. Any AP gained from like turn to 0, like stuff like bells, revitalize, stuff like that. When you see the regeneration that pops up every turn when it's your turn at the start of your turn, instead of like 34 or 31 or something AP, you get 0 if you are affected by Frostbite. Also, it removes AP per turn. So not only is this status effect extremely strong, but King Curry, once he has his EX, his barrage actually like uses Frostbite. And Frostbite in general, I believe, is really freaking OP as a status effect. However, because it's locked to only King Curry, right now at least, until later on when more units might have it, I'm a little scared. Agrius EX, please Gumi, do not put it there. Just don't do it, please. But yeah, Frostbite, I would say, is arguably extremely good against people who do not have high starting AP. So mages in general won't be affected too much by this, but people are like King Mont or like Cloud or like just units in general that don't have high AP starting AP, like they will suffer significantly like with Frostbite. They will just be auto attacking for literally 3 turns. It's literally going to be like almost like a disable. And what a lot of people have been waiting for, maybe, or if you just wanted to see Warrior Light, we do have him returning, as well as the Vision card and Esper Death Machine, which will be coming out with this Wednesday update. And they'll be here for approximately 1 month, as you can see, until July 13th. So make sure you grab those if you can, if you really want them. But yeah, not only this, Death Machine also gets his 3-star Awakening. Warrior Light also gets his EX, and they both get pretty powered up. It's pretty nice to have. I will say, arguably, Death Machine has more value than Warrior Light if you already have either a Dwayne that is ready to become EX or King Mont or a Rain that is already EX, arguably. However, just keep in mind, Warrior Light still with his EX is actually pretty good. I will be making a video on him once everything is translated and updated, so I can get like the best, well, I'm not going to say the best, but I'll say, in my opinion, really accurate, well thought out information. So I hope you guys can wait a little bit for that. Not only that, for the Chocobo Expedition, we get the Matoya's Cave returning, so you can get a little bit of Warrior Light shards there. We also get his Bingo, so you can get up to 120 shards there, as well as Death Machine's Vision card has 75 shards as well. I will emphasize that I will be making a video on Death Machine because I do believe his value is insanely good as a Vision card. And his Esper is, I will arguably say, is more better for quote-unquote PvP, like live PvP, and I'll explain why a little bit, but just like a little teaser, when he gets his 3-star awakening, he gets charm resistance, which is huge. Anyways, we'll go to the next slide. Continuing on with the Warrior Light return, the reissue, we not only get a lot more Visior for the week, it's going to be the event Visior usually, but we also get a little bit of shards of Warrior Light, which is nice to have. So make sure you're logging in, get your rewards, it's very nice to have. His EX quest returns as well for the Armor of Light and Sword of Light. I will say, if you are a raider that does raid like pretty often, Armor of Light as of now is not as useful anymore because we have an upcoming new armor from raid, which is significantly way better than Armor of Light. However, if you don't want to wait until then, or if you don't have a single Armor of Light, it's still nice to grab an extra of these if you have the time. I will say Sword of Light specifically will be very, very strong for light units in general. And as you can see at the top right stats, sorry it's not translated, you can see from the assault type, we get 152 attack, which is pretty good. It's not as high as like Nagrarok and stuff. However, the effects is way more stronger, but I'll get to that in a sec. The magic type also exists for people who are devoted to Ramza, kind of like me, sorry I have to just say it out, or like Muriel, stuff like that, Spellblades. The magic type is not bad, it's 126, it's not as strong as Lohengrin. However, this is the important part for the passive effects. You not only get 15 slash out of plus 5, if you fully awaken it to 5, you also get 30 light attack. 30 light attack is not a small amount, that is pretty good. I will say something that will deter some people from getting this weapon is that you have to keep in mind there's no spirit or defense penetration specifically for this, so that's just something I have to say, or else people are going to be like, oh my gosh, this sword's crazy amazing, it has no counter. It does, sadly. Also, lastly, to say for this slide, it's going to be the limited guild quest. You have to have a Night Stone statue at least level, you have to have a Night Stone statue to make sure you can do this limited guild quest. If your guild has this available, make sure you do it for them. It definitely helps them out, and you also get materials for yourself. It's like, as you can see there, you can get not only light fragment stones, you can also get the red magicite, so it's very nice to have. And this is going to be going on for the duration of Warrior Light and Death Machine's availability until July 13th, as you can see from the date. Moving on, as well for the Wednesday update, we also get the Agitator. It's going to be a rerun. You can get the Dark Gloves again and the Golden Blade this time. I will say, due to a certain unit, which is going to be, I'll just spoil it right now, Valentine's Salire coming out, Dark Gloves will be very, very useful, even for your Garvel. So make sure you pick up at least one minimum if you can. It would be very, very nice. A big thing though is that we now have the new item Guild Snapper Extra Large, and you can sell it for 1 mil gil without the extra benefits yet. I mean, if you have the item sale price for 50%, that's 1.5 mil gil per turtle. And this turtle is now going to be available by clearing the new updated Guild Chamber Professional, which will also be coming on the Wednesday update. So if you need a lot of gil, and a lot of people should if you've been EXing units, here it is. This is your solution. Also, with the Wednesday update, we are now going to have the class match come back once again. And this map is going to be Arena, which is much more close quarters and a little bit smaller than the other maps we have played. The rules are going to be cost 540 or less, which is nice. It's a little still too lenient, but it's not bad. Quicken and Haste nullified, thank goodness. And Healing Power down 50%, which is huge. There are some things I do have to say, and there's a big frowny face, is that Ildira's CT, her LB, will still be super effective, and Keen Blade is still going to be from Glinting Armor, which is Rob's TMR, for the super CT gain is also going to be available. This, unfortunately, I know this is kind of like political talk in War Divisions, but for live PvP, I hate Quicken and CT just because of how cheesy it is, and it's not... I'm not trying to degrade anyone's like usage of it, but it's like I really can't respect people using it, but I do appreciate people who are basically pushing the like limits of how like strong this is. So because it is available, because it's not Quicken and Haste, these will be two things you guys will see in the class match this time around. I will say at least it's like we don't have Quicken, so you can't get double Quicken cheesed. However, yeah, CT's still gonna be here and Evasion's still gonna be here, so 2B is gonna be kind of annoying. But I will say, since we do have a new unit coming out that kind of directly counters 2B specifically and can one-shot her, I will say I'm kind of happy about that. Anyways, let's move on to the next slide. Here we are for the arena map change and the guild battle map change. Both of them are going to be changing up to the Graveyard 3. We have not actually played on this map yet. It's a little bit farther. Everyone's in the back, as you can see from the pictures. Everyone's like starting at their little tombstone in the far back, and then everyone's running up to the middle. Starting specifically for the arena map, it will be next week's update, unfortunately. However, for the guild battle map, it will be this Wednesday, and the map effect is going to be Ice Attack Up. This is already spoiling what's coming out, but Valentine's Salire is going to be very good here. Gilgamesh will be very good here. Auron will be very good here. So just keep in mind, Ice Attack Up. This means also that Helena will also not be one-shotting people as easily because there's no Dark Attack Up. Thank goodness. She has been a nuisance for like many people, I'm pretty sure. And here it is, the last slide and the announcement pretty much. We get Salire, Sweetheart. I call her Valentine's Salire just because of the JP side. However, we get her starting this Wednesday update. Keep in mind, all the news that we read about her, she is not limited in global. She was limited in JP, not limited in global. You can see here specifically that her bingo is going to be here for, what is it, 4, 9, that's 13 days, basically 2 weeks. And we get her unit charge drop in the Chocobo Expedition. This is not limited. It says drop rate specifically. And the limited portion for Warrior of Light, the Motoya's Cave, was completely separate. This means this is almost confirming that Salire's Sweetheart version is going to be permanent in global. This is pretty significant and huge just because of like just how good of a unit she is in terms of fighting against the future like meta of like the Wind Evasion Sisters, which is 2B and Tifa. So just keep that in mind. I will also be making a video about her once all the information is out. But I will have to say, as you can see from her unit design, not only is her dress a little bit bigger compared to JP, because JP had a very, not PG-13, but it's much more cleaner and better in this version, as you can see here from the preview they showed her. And her abilities is that she's basically an EX version of Garvel, but she's an Ice type. So you can obviously, like, no Detonation Blast, 100% hit. Literally chef kiss, like goodbye 2B, just die please, no more evasion cheese. Also outside of that, her limit burst is going to be Bombardment of Love, which is kind of like Halloween Leela's limit break, where it removes all the buffs from the target, deals damage, and she gains a little like a good chunk of CT for herself, so she can quickly get another turn very soon after using it. So this is actually very nice to have. And I will say she is a pretty good unit. If I was to go off the top of my head without like super analyzing her, even though I already have on my power point slide that I have to kind of work on, I would give her right now at release, I would give her a 9 out of 10. But once Tifa and the Final Fantasy 7 units come out and like a lot more units come out, I might bump her up to 9.5, but I'll have to look in there and research for you guys to see if it's really worth it for the 9.5. I don't put many units at 9.5 to 10 unless I really believe they, well, not 9.5, I mean 4.5 out of 5. I'm sorry, I completely forgot I changed up my rating. 4.5 out of 5 is what I would have to consider for her specifically, because 4.5 and 5 out of 5 is extremely strong, and I don't put that lightly on most units. And with that, thank you guys for watching. As always, we arrived to the end of the video. It was definitely a longer update as much, but there was just so much to talk about, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked my content for here to update, please like and subscribe. And until then, to next video, which should be working on Warrior of Light, Salire, Sweetheart, and Death Machine. I'm going to be a little bit busy, so I'll be getting to that as soon as possible. And until then, peace out.